Hello dear sirs and madams, and welcome to another video by this here dwarf. And ahaha! Today is not something that could be suggested as a run and gun game. No sir. Alright then, let's have a look and see what this game is like then. If I hear the word run followed by gun, I will know you've been lying. I can completely assure you, dear bodiless voice from the void of my madness, that this game features no guns whatsoever. Today, dear viewers, we'll be talking about the wonderful game Yaga. Yaga is an action role-playing adventure game set in the world of Slavic folktales of the 14th century. You take on the role of Ivan, the village blacksmith with just one hand. He is shorter than the other humans with a beard and a love of working fine materials. Yes, dear viewers, this character is most certainly a dwarf. And let me tell you, even with one hand, our fearsome dwarven blacksmith is a force to be reckoned with. The game was developed by Breadcrumbs Interactive and published by Versus Evil. It was released on the 12th of January 2021. The game begins with a tale of how our heroic blacksmith loses his right arm fighting off an evil creature that wishes to eat him. After having fought off the vile fiend and getting his arm all bandaged up again, we begin the game in earnest. The Tsar, the leader of the blacksmith's people, tasks our plucky hero with a series of seemingly impossible tasks, from obtaining the secret of eternal youth to finding the Tsar the most beautiful wife in all the lands. It would seem the Tsar is obviously aware of the hopelessness of his tasks and is fully expecting Ivan to fail and get set in the stocks. Luckily, the blacksmith is made of sterner stuff and sets off on his journey to complete all of the tasks as set to him. Along the way, Ivan is helped, or perhaps more accurately manipulated, by the supernatural being known as Baba Yaga. She appears as a dear old lady before the blacksmith and attempts to offer aid and advice for each of his endeavours. The art style is hand-drawn and two-dimensional with a movement on a three-dimensional plane, essentially 2.5D. All the characters look lovingly drawn with vibrant colours and, well, character. The world is also wonderfully described, offering up insight into the world of a 14th century peasant in Slavic culture, albeit with a twist of folklore magic. It's cool having this insight into another culture's tales and traditions. I know little of it from the Witcher games, so learning more about the strange creatures and stories is interesting. It appears to be quite rich in terms of content and theme to draw on when creating such games. Mythical creatures, magical beings, enchanted forests and swamps and all that are rich pickings on which to create your own stories and adventures, especially in video game form. Are you ever going to talk about what actually happens in the game rather than banging on about how much you like the theme? The game, yes, the game. Yaga has a wonderful start menu where you can continue by continuing the game. You can change tales, selecting a new tale, help and options where you can get help, so look at the controls, look at the options, many, change the difficulty. I played through normal, and lastly credits, which I'll click and hopefully won't get stuck on. Nope. Back we go. Help and options, achievements, you can look at everything you've achieved, and finally you can exit. The main game loop revolves around you guiding Ivan through various maps, defeating monsters, collecting items, and interacting with the events as they occur. On the combat side, which you'll be doing a lot of, it is involved enough to stay fun throughout the entirety of the game. You can move our hero in any direction and swing his hammer at any bad guys that come close. Along with simply swinging his hammer to victory, Ivan can also throw it Thor style, with it flying through the air, charging at the heads of evildoers before returning to his hand. There is nuance to the fighting system. A lot of enemies, both magical and mundane, will have the ability to block your incoming attacks. This means the player will have to position themselves correctly to even land a single blow. Further to this, several creatures are all but immune to damage unless they themselves are attempting to attack you. To defeat such creatures, you must attempt to strike them when they do the same to you, allowing you to interrupt their attacks and strike home. Timing and some skill is required, not to take a swift blow to the face for your endeavours. Additionally, Ivan can equip numerous special pieces of equipment to his right arm missing hand. These can range from a spade, a large hook, and even a giant bear's claw. Rather than purely employed in smacking up the enemy, these tools add additional ways in which to interact with the world. The spade allows Ivan to move underground to bypass obstructions and to deceive and confuse thy foes. The large scythe can be used to clear brambles and thorns, the bear's paw to move objects, the wagon wheel used to block attacks, and my favourite of the lot, the chain fork. This particular piece of equipment allows Ivan to send out a chain-attached fork, scorpion style, and then pull himself towards that which he has grasped hold of. I must say that besides when requiring them for a specific task, I use the chain fork for the majority of the time with this game. The manoeuvrability it grants to the blacksmith is very good indeed. You can use it to speed up your traversal of a level and get around foes with ease. In combat, it can be flung at the enemy, drawing you to it and briefly stunning it. This allows us to get free attacks at the bad guy and interrupts what they may have been doing at the time. It can also be employed to disarm opponents by pulling away a shield or weapons which they have equipped. The game has solid combat indeed, but the role-playing side is what really makes the game shine. While adventuring away, our hero dwarf comes across events and interactions that will require certain action to be taken. This takes the form of decisions and actions in a certain vein. Ivan can act greedily, violently, righteously, even somewhat gauntletly. Each decision will have an impact on the world around him. For example, does he let a ghost possess a man for one day to let it pass peacefully on, or decide to end the creature here for its presumption? Does he attempt to serve the Tsar faithfully, or, even perhaps for the good of the realm, only appear to be doing so? There are big decisions such as these, but there are all manner of smaller decisions that I feel really add flavour to the experience. Simple things such as demanding payment for a deed rather than dutifully refusing any sort of reward has an effect on how the game will play out. I took a more righteous playthrough, finding it difficult, as always, not to play the paragon of virtue and goodness in my video games. The player can equally roleplay as a violent madman, a greedy bugger, or a bit of a naive so-and-so. The last key feature of the game is bad luck. Ivan has a bad luck meter that builds up through his actions and decisions. The more bad luck Ivan accrues, the more unfortunate things become. This can mean dealing less damage, weapons breaking, decisions not going away, and others. The plus side of bad luck is that Ivan will level up faster while he has higher levels of bad luck. This adds the question of balancing luck to the decisions of the player. Do you sit in bad luck and level up quicker, or do you do your best to keep away from bad fortune and progress at a slower pace? It's very interesting stuff. I guess by this point it's probably quite obvious that if I'm doing a video about a game that I probably enjoy playing it. And this is very true today. Early on I had a little trouble with taking a beating in combat, but once I played more I got the hang of things. The crafting, which I haven't talked loads about, is a prominent feature, allowing the player to really cater to the way they might want to play. You can tool up on weapons that allow strong melee prowess, or you can create a hammer that is weaker in melee but very powerful when thrown. This game is a great example of why indie games are perhaps where the magic of video gaming is still alive and well. There is a self-contained, lovingly made, well-priced video game that was clearly a passion project for the developer. You can see all the effort and love that has been put into it. Perhaps I'm an old fogey who remembers the good old days too much, but this is what gaming, at its core, is all about. You purchase a game, you play and enjoy the game. If you did enjoy it, you will likely buy another from the same developer. Good times. So, if you like what you see, I would definitely recommend this one. Get hold of Yaga, immerse yourself in the world of Slavic folklore, and see what these plucky blacksmith is up to. And there we go again, dear viewers, another video in the bag and all summed up. If you enjoyed and feel like doing so, please like and subscribe and share with your friends so that perhaps this little channel might grow an extra size more.
Well, it wasn't a rum and gun game in the end. I'm watching you though.
Yes, figment of my lunacy, I told you it wasn't. Goodbye dear viewers, and see you next time.
Whee!